sa INQuirer Radio 990 AM.
Buhay mo ay ingatan mo.
Ang Lunas Kalusugan ay may free check-up tuwing Sabado at Linggo mula alas 8 ng umaga hanggang 1 ng hapon sa 4th floor Guadalupe Commercial Complex, EDSA Makati, tapat ng MRT station. Tumawag sa telephone number 514-4597 o mag-text sa 0927-838-3828.
Pagkat yan lang ang yaman mo.
We give you not just first-hand news. We bring you to where it is happening as it happens. Fast, factual, comprehensive information. Balanced and fearless views. Fair commentaries. Entertainment. Public service. This is DZIQ INQuirer Radio 990 AM.
Philippine Standard Time, 4:31 a.m.
INQuirer Radio News. INQuirer Radio News.
Good morning. Today is Saturday, February 15, 2014. I am Jay Donis, and this is the 4:30 edition of INQuirer Radio News.
INQuirer Radio News.
In the headlines, 3 points, testimony of Ruby Tuazon short, according to Senator Antonio Trillanes. Actor Matt Ranillo willing to face pork barrel investigation. Meanwhile, 2008 footage on delivery of pork kickbacks by Ruby Tuazon no longer existing. Filipino figure skater Michael Martinez out of the medal race in the 2014 Sochi Olympics, but in on the hearts of Filipinos worldwide. Meanwhile, new CCTV footage of Cedric Lee kissing Denise Cornejo continue to draw flack from netizens. Meanwhile, Cornejo and Lee's counsel downplay the said footage. MMDA and LGUs prepare for heavy traffic as major road projects to begin next week. DepEd trying proposals or studying proposals for a 4-day school week for students. Pinoy celebrate Love Day in different styles and settings. In our foreign news, Facebook now has 56 gender option for its users. In sports, Philippine Sports Commission denies not helping Pinoy Olympic figure skater Michael Martinez. And in show business, James Yap tells former wife Chris Aquino to enjoy life. Those are the headlines. Now the details.
INQuirer Radio News. INQuirer Radio News.
Michael Christian Martinez, the only Filipino to enter the figure skating event in the 2014 Sochi Winter Olympics in Russia, will not be bringing home a medal after failing to make it to the final list of medal hopefuls last night. But the young Filipino did his country proud with his gutsy and emotion-filled performances at the men's free skating event that have captured the world's attention. Martinez, who ranked number 1 among the first 6 performers, slipped away from the medal race as the more experienced and top-ranked skaters took to the rank. His spirited performance despite a fall in the free program Friday night only endeared him to the crowd and to the media covering the Olympics. Meanwhile, Japan took the gold medal in the men's figure skating event. Meanwhile, Ruby Tuazon appears to be covering up for Senator Juan Ponce Enrile and pinning down Senator Jinggoy Estrada. Senator Antonio Trillanes IV made the observation, adding Tuazon's supposed 3-point shot testimony on pork barrel scam fell short. Trillanes said the case against Enrile, Estrada, and Senator Bong Revilla and others charged over PDAF misuse already appeared to be complete. But he noted Tuazon's testimony lacked specific amounts and actual dates of her cash deliveries, hinting she could be covering up for Enrile while pinning down and dropping Estrada. Despite this, the senator in the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee panel hearing took to task DOJ prosecutors for accepting Tuazon as a provisional state witness. Trillanes is also verifying information that Tuazon's counsel, attorney Dennis Manalo, was a member of Enrile's Pecabar. Meanwhile, Senator Antonio Trillanes suggested to use lie detector tests in the pork scam hearings. This is what the senator said a day after the appearance of provisional state witness Ruby Tuazon at the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee hearing on the misuse of the Priority Development Assistance Fund. Trillanes admitted that he has apprehension to accept Tuazon's testimony since he knew that she is applying for the Witness Protection Program of the DOJ. He reiterated that it seems that Tuazon is leaving out some details on the pork barrel scam. That is why it is too early to rejoice. Trillanes also noticed that what was not directly implicating Senator Juan Ponce Enrile, as she said she only dealt with his chief of staff, Attorney Gigi Reyes. Meanwhile, President Aquino is not in favor of making Janet Lim Napoles as a state witness. Suggestions to make the alleged pork barrel scam mastermind a state witness stemmed after Ruby Tuazon surfaced in a tell-all hearing at the Senate. According to the President, Napoles should first admit what she knows about the misuse of the Priority Development Assistance Fund before being considered a state witness. Aquino admitted that he believed that Napoles has engineered the pork barrel fund scam based on the evidence by the Department of Justice. Meanwhile, the Department of Justice confirmed receiving feelers from actor Matt Ranillo III indicating his willingness to face the pork barrel scam probe. Justice Secretary Leila de Lima learned of Ranillo's intention to surface but refused to give more details. De Lima welcomed such move, adding that the DOJ will study the possible testimony of Ranillo and its value to the NBI investigation. The actor was named by whistleblowers as the one who allegedly signed vouchers for the reported kickbacks of Senator Jinggoy Estrada and his mother Loy. Ranillo will be summoned by the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee along with the documents he used in his case against the company of Janet Lim Napoles. Meanwhile, the NBI said actor Matt Ranillo III is willing to surface after he was named by Ruby Tuazon as Janet Napoles' delivery man of pork kickbacks to a senator. An NBI source claimed Ranillo has expressed willingness to return to the country after he was dragged in the misuse of public funds. It was reported that the Bureau already located Ranillo and has talked to the actor. It added that Ranillo is now consulting with his lawyers for the affidavit that he will submit to the NBI. The NBI added that Ranillo's lawyer is now gathering information on allegations against him. Meanwhile, Senate Sergeant-at-Arms retired General Jose Balahaja admits that the video footage of Ruby Tuazon's supposed delivery of pork kickbacks no longer exists. Balahaja said their CCTV footages of the basement parking in 2008, the year Tuazon entered the building purportedly to give the commission to Senator Jinggoy Estrada, had long been erased. The admission came as senators quibbled over whether it was correct to call Tuazon's testimony a three-point shot. Balahaja explained that they stored their footages of the basement parking in VHS tapes from 2002 to 2010, and these were recycled after 30 days if there was no request for a copy. He added that it was only in 2011 that they started using DVDs, hence it would all boil down to Tuazon's word against the Estradas.
INQuirer Radio News.
4:39 is our standard time. In other news, a high-ranking official of the U.S. military said they will honor their commitment with the Philippines in case China further intrudes in the disputed areas in the West Philippine Sea. Visiting Admiral Jonathan Greenert, Chief of Naval Operations of the U.S. Navy, reiterated that they have an obligation to the Philippines because of the Mutual Defense Treaty. However, Greenert refused to go to the specific assistance they would provide in case China occupies the Philippine-held territory in the West Philippine Sea. Greenert also said that they do not recognize the Air Defense Identification Zone of China over the disputed territories. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry met Chinese President Xi Jinping amid increasingly tense territorial rows between Beijing and Washington's allies, Tokyo and Manila. Kerry started his Valentine's Day visit with a meeting with Xi at the Great Hall of the People and was due to meet other officials including Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi. Kerry's trip comes at a pivotal moment for the region, with flaring disputes between Beijing and Tokyo over their World War history and disputed islands in the East China Sea. This sent relations between the Asian powers plummeting to their lowest point in recent years. Fears of an aerial or maritime clash over the islands have spiked following Beijing's recent declaration of an air defense identification zone in the skies above the East China Sea. Meanwhile, President Aquino said the country's deal with Washington on increased rotational presence of U.S. forces is still being finalized. Amid territorial row with China, Aquino said the talks are not yet finished as there are meetings still being held to meet the needs of both parties. At the sidelines of the 21st Travel Tour Expo, the president said the Philippines and U.S. still have to study the nuances and laws relevant to the agreement. Amid unfinished pact on increased U.S. military presence in the Philippines, other Asian countries are also claiming territories in the disputed South China Sea. The Philippines already brought the dispute before a United Nations-backed arbitration body, citing aggressive moves by Beijing in the West Philippine Sea.
INQuirer Radio News.
4:41 is our standard time. Still in other news, the camp of businesswoman Cedric Lee and model Denise Cornejo dismisses the new CCTV footage being shown in media, apparently showing Cornejo being kissed by Lee. Lee and Cornejo's spokesman, lawyer Raymond Fortun, said it does not prove anything since Lee's kiss is not reciprocated by Cornejo. Although Fortun did not deny that it was Lee kissing the smiling Cornejo, but the lawyer insisted that the two were not kissing each other, as insinuated in some reports. The footage was taken from the Forbeswood Heights condominium elevator on last January 22, the night that actor Vong Navarro was mauled. The video also showed Lee's sister Bernice together with two other men. Meanwhile, the request for temporary protection order by Denise Cornejo against Vong Navarro was junked by a Taguig court. The Taguig Regional Trial Court denied the TPO petition by Cornejo, but there was no immediate report on the reasons cited by the court in denying the model's plea. The camp of Navarro earlier hit the TPO request, branding such as a delaying tactic on the case filed by the actor-host against Cornejo, Cedric Lee and his sister Bernice, and others over the mauling incident in a Taguig condominium. Businessman Cedric Lee and model Denise Cornejo did not attend the first day of the DOJ preliminary hearing on the mauling of actor-host Vong Navarro. Attorney Arleo Magtibay said Cornejo and the Lee siblings decided instead to attend another hearing. The three who were charged by Navarro in connection with his mauling inside the condo unit of Cornejo attended a hearing for their petition for temporary protection order against the comedian. Meanwhile, Navarro's counsel Alma Malyonga said that the protection order filed by Cornejo at the Taguig City Regional Trial Court was a ridiculous case. She claimed that the Lee siblings and Cornejo were into delaying tactics to postpone the DOJ preliminary probe. "4:44 is our standard time. The MMDA launched a website for the public to monitor the traffic buildup caused by the major road projects that will be implemented simultaneously this year. During the two-day Metro Manila Traffic Management Summit in Makati City, MMDA Chairman Francis Tolentino launched Roadway Project website, www.mmroadway.com. On the website, motorists can monitor the traffic status of the 15 major infrastructure road projects. Tolentino said under the website, information about the project and also the information of the contractor and also the status of the project will be readily available to the public. Meanwhile, in anticipation of the heavy traffic caused by the scheduled construction of some major road projects, the MMDA would be operating a ferry service on the Pasig River this coming April until 2016. According to MMDA Chairman Francis Tolentino, the move is to help decongest traffic along Metro Manila roads when the almost simultaneous construction of the 15 major infrastructure projects in Metro Manila gets underway. Tolentino said they are targeting the revival of the Pasig River ferry service this coming April, wherein they will be using their own 40 ferries and will charge commuters a minimal fare. The ferry service will take passengers from Guadalupe in Makati to Escolta in Manila and vice versa. Meanwhile, the Department of Education is open to a suggestion for a 4-day work week. Education Assistant Secretary Tionisito Omari said the proposal needs further study with respect to the DepEd order and the non-negotiable 180 days or the contact time of students and teachers. Meanwhile, MMDA Chairman Francis Tolentino clarified that the proposed 4-day school week or flexible time for students will only be temporary and only for 2 years. The proposed compressed school week stemmed from the 2-day traffic summit as one of the measures to reduce traffic volume while major infrastructure projects in Metro Manila goes underway. Still in other news, if not for a reminder, President Aquino could have forgotten that yesterday's Valentine's Day was the birthday of his youngest sister, Chris Aquino. The president had to be reminded of Chris's birthday by Senator Sonny Angara, who sat beside Aquino during the opening of the 21st Travel Expo by the Philippine Travel Agencies Association. When asked on his Valentine's plan, Aquino thanked Angara for reminding him of Chris's birthday. Aquino even jokingly hoped that his sister would not make him nanny or would not leave her sons with him. It was not a lonely Valentine's Day at all for President Aquino. The bachelor president spent a day of the hearts with his friends. In an ambush interview, Aquino told reporters that he met with his friends last night. The president and his friends had a gathering, but he earlier claimed it was only up to that such kind of event and nothing more. Flowers, chocolates, and balloons were set aside as condoms became a surprise attraction on Valentine's Day. In Manila's flower capital, Dangwa, several girls wearing sexy outfits gave away condoms to people, to buyers and passers-by. The girls whispered to the recipients of condoms the message, "Have a safe Valentine's Day." But it was not clear who was behind the distribution of contraceptives, which was made in time for the Day of Lovers. The Catholic Church earlier called to stop condom advertisements and advised lovers to pray instead of using gayuma to win a loved one or express love through sex acts. Thousands of couples took their vows in different parts of the country yesterday, Valentine's Day. At the St. Joseph Parish inside Camp Crame in Quezon City, 12 couples consisting of PNP personnel and their partners were married. NCRPO Chief Superintendent Marcelo Garbo said the wedding expenses for the 12 couples was shouldered by the Philippine National Police. Meanwhile, more than 800 couples were married in a mass wedding in Intramuros, Manila, dubbed as I Do, Araw ng Pag-ibig. Meanwhile, Manila Mayor Joseph Estrada led the ceremony while Vice President Jejo Marbinay and Pag-ibig Fund President Darlene Berberabe acted as wedding sponsors. One couple was given a house and lot while 7 newly married couples were given livelihood assistance. A total of 4,300 couples and members of the Pag-ibig Fund were simultaneously married in Ilocos Norte, Pangasinan, Ifugao, Albay, Cebu, and in Davao. (4:49) In coordination with the LTFRB, the BIR will run after operators of public utility vehicles to curb tax evasion in the transport sector. The BIR particularly wants the LTFRB to require PUB operators to submit their income tax returns whenever they renew licenses. BIR Deputy Commissioner Estela Sales said they want to partner with the LTFRB in the campaign against tax evasion. With such measure, the BIR will be able to determine the tax delinquencies among PUV operators. Sales said the Bureau aims to widen the scope of its anti-tax evasion drive and cover more sectors. The Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board will impose heavier fines for bus operators flying colorum vehicles. From the current 6,000 pesos fine for the first offense, LTFRB Chairman Winston Hines said they will make it to 1 million pesos. The board will also cancel the franchise of illegal vehicles. For the second offense, Hines said that the franchises of the entire fleet would be canceled, accompanied by a fine of 1 million. The new sanction is expected to be implemented this year upon the approval of the Transportation Secretary, June Abaya. The Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board will investigate another bus company following the Bontoc Mountain Province fatal accident. The LTFRB is set to probe the Gupan Bus Company following the discovery that the ill-fated Florida bus was actually registered to the firm. The agency said the chassis and engine number of the Florida unit was found to be registered with the Gupan Bus Company. Earlier probes indicated that the Florida bus, which fell in a deep ravine killing at least 15 people, used the license plate of a unit of Mountain Province's cable tour. The agency already imposed a 30-day suspension against Florida, stating more plans to ensure passenger safety, including making CCTV systems and speed limiters mandatory within the year. Still in other news, the government approved a 6 billion peso subsidy for the LRT Line 1 Cavite Extension Project. The project is the country's largest railway public-private partnership or PPP project. The Department of Transportation and Communications said the government will shell out 6 billion pesos as a viability gap funding for such project. The OTC Bids and Awards Committee Chairman Jose Perpetuo Lotilla said, pursuant to the NEDA approval, the LRT Line 1 Cavite Extension Project will be subsidized by the government. A subsidy in a PPP project means that the government would fund the gap and give the money to the concessionaire. Meanwhile, the government said it is losing nearly 10 million pesos a day because of a court order barring the acquisition of new trains for Metro Manila or Metro Rail Transit Line 3 or MRT3. Before the Makati Regional Trial Court issued the temporary order of protection, the Department of Transportation and Communications was aiming for the delivery of new trains in 2 years, according to MRT3 General Manager Alvitang Col III. The Makati RTC Branch 66 issued the 20-day TPO at the request of MRT Holdings the Second Incorporated, which earlier announced it did not give its consent to government's planned capacity expansion of MRT3. The court order came a month after DOTC awarded to Dalian Locomotive a contract to supply MRT3 with additional light rail vehicles. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives has approved on third and final reading a bill requiring mobile phone service for providers to issue text alerts during man-made natural calamities. House Bill 353, authored principally by Bayan Muna Representatives Nery Colmenares and Carlos Zarate, is now in the hands of the Senate. The two noted the country is struck by at least 19 typhoons a year, leaving scores dead and a big amount of property destroyed or damaged. Under the bill, mobile phone alerts such as text messages would be sent by providers at regular intervals as required by the NDRRMC, Pag-asa, FIVOS, and other concerned agencies.
INQuirer Radio News.
Meanwhile, Health Secretary Enrique Ona disputed the claims of the Philippine Medical Association that the country will face a shortage of doctors this year. Ona said the problem rests in the maldistribution of physicians and not on the supposed shortage. The DOH chief, meanwhile, said all the 72 government hospitals in the country are candidates for the public-private partnerships that the government was aiming. Ona explained that such move is supposedly to reform the country's health system. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court has set oral arguments to determine whether the penalty handed down to estafa convicts under the 80-year-old revised penal code needs updating. The oral debates, scheduled for February 25 at 2 p.m., were set by the High Court, motu proprio, in response to a petition for review filed by a certain Lito Corpus, who was convicted over a 98,000 peso estafa case. According to the Supreme Court Public Information Office, the High Court will seek to determine whether Article 315 of the revised Penal Code should already be declared unconstitutional for being disproportionate and excessively harsh in view of the decline of the value of money since 1930. Meanwhile, zero-waste advocates expressed disgust over an attempt to smuggle into the country some 50 container vans of trash mislabeled as recyclable plastics from Canada. Romy Hidalgo of Eco Waste Coalition and the group's representative to the National Solid Waste Management Commission said the country is not a garbage dump. Eco Waste condemned in strongest possible terms the unabashed attempt to dump hazardous waste misrepresented by recyclable or as recyclable plastic into the Philippines. The group made a statement after the Bureau of Customs reportedly intercepted a shipment of 50 container vans of plastic trash from Canada at the Port of Manila.
INQuirer Radio News.
At 4:56 in the morning, here now is our news from abroad. The very popular social networking site Facebook now has at least 56 new gender options for its users. Facebook freed their members from the bonds of being either male or female, letting people opt for custom genders such as transsexual or intersex, along with adding scores of custom gender options on profile pages. Facebook is letting members select which pronouns they wish to use when referring to them in posts or messages. Facebook users could opt to be referred to as he or him, or she or her, or by a neutral they or their choice, which users can access via their timeline or profile page. That's news from overseas. Now sports. The Philippine Sports Commission denied earlier reports that they failed to support Filipino figure skater Michael Martinez as he was training for the Sochi Winter Olympics in Russia. According to PSC Chairman Richie Garcia, Martinez was escorted by officials of the Philippine Olympic Committee and the Philippine Skating Union when he went to Sochi. The PSC also provided Martinez with $7,200 as training expenses, which was coursed through the POC. The PSC chairman also promised to extend whatever support Martinez needs for future events after the Winter Olympics. That's sports news. Now from show business. Basketball star James Yap told estranged wife Chris Aquino, who celebrated her birthday yesterday, Valentine's Day, to enjoy life. Yap added that it was good for Aquino if she was entertaining a new suitor now. The Sunmig Coffee star guard also expressed his gratitude to the actress host for coming to his rescue. Aquino defended Yap over the issue of game fixing when his team lost to Barangay Ginebra in Game 6 of the PBA semis after he missed a potential game-tying triple. While surprised on her former wife's action, Yap was still thankful to Chris because of her show of concern. That's news from show business. Now let's have here again on the headlines for today, Saturday, February 15, 2014. 3 points testimony of Ruby Tuazon short, according to Senator Antonio Trillanes IV. Actor Matt Ranillo willing to face the pork barrel investigation. Meanwhile, 2008 footage on the delivery of the pork barrel kickbacks by Ruby Tuazon no longer exists. Filipino figure skater Michael Martinez out of the medal race in the 2014 Sochi Olympics, but in on the hearts of Filipinos worldwide. New CCTV footage of Cedric Lee kissing Denise Cornejo continued to draw flack from netizens. Cornejo and Lee's counsel downplays the footage. MMDA and LGUs prepare for heavy traffic as major road projects begins next week. DepEd studying proposals for a 4-day school week for students. Pinoys celebrate Love Day in different styles and settings. In our foreign news, Facebook now has 56 gender options for its users. Sports, Philippine Sports Commission denies not helping Pinoy Olympic figure skater Michael Martinez. And in show business, James Yap tells his former wife, Chris Aquino, to enjoy life. And so goes the 4:30 a.m. edition, the Saturday edition of INQuirer Radio News. On behalf of Alvin Barcelona and Mariel Cruz, this has been Jay Donas saying thank you very much for listening. Have a great weekend. Vaya con Dios.
This is INQuirer Radio, 990 AM. 990 AM. INQuirer Radio. Balitang patas at makatotohanan, advice, pampabuenas at tips na makabuluhan, nakalilibang na kwento at mga trivia na pampatalino, detalye sa karera, loto at opinyong swak sa panlasa ng masang Pilipino, entertainment news at click na chika, regular na mababasa sa bandera, ang diaryong hitik sa balita, buenas at chika at kapatid ng pinagkakatiwalaang Philippine Daily INQuirer. Bili na, mabibili sa mga newsstands, selected branches ng 7-Eleven at national bookstores. News from the news. North, east, west, south. Every hour, every minute. News where it's happening as it happens. Delivered hot and fresh by your DZIQ INQuirer Radio reportorial team.
Volunteer Against Crime and Corruption or VACC expressed support with the statement made by Manila Mayor Erap Estrada opposing for the reimposition of death penalty law.
Environmental advocates from the Kalikasan People's Network for the Environment joined various groups in a picket at the Supreme Court to support oral arguments against the power rate hike of Meralco.
A total of 59 million pesos worth of relief goods have been provided to the families affected by heavy rains and floods caused by tropical depression in most parts in Mindanao.
The Department of Education said the National Achievement Test or not will still be implemented in typhoon-affected areas in eastern Visayas.
The military recognizes the New People's Army as still the country's biggest internal security threat group.
House Speaker Feliciano Belmonte Jr. assures that congressmen will still work hard even now that Congress resumes session workless or without the board panel.
Senator Lauren Ligarda called